Howdy. Sparkle fingers.
Are you doing this live?
Yeah.
Are you live?
Yeah. I'm not really prepared. You don't need to come in here and act all crazy. It's trying to be like a serious kind of video. But I'm feeling a lot better right now than I was earlier. So basically, wanted to say that I ordered another book that several people have mentioned, and I'll show you. Oops, that's something I printed. Get out of there. This book, I'm distracted by my people. So basically I read about Mast Cell Activation Syndrome and highlighted, oops, I can't see. Don't come over here acting crazy or over there acting all crazy. So there's like a lot of things that are highlighted. I read it and, hold on. So it's just a few pages, but I read it and I was both encouraged and disturbed. Joshua, move your body. So I read it and I was encouraged because that's like me. And there's a lot of things in there that I'm like, okay, well, I've already read a lot of two other books, and I've read websites and different things. So it was basically stuff I already knew, but I guess worded a little differently and explained a little differently. So I was happy to see that, but also at the same time, I'm like, this is ridiculous that that somebody has to go through all this craziness. So here's the book. I'll let you know what I think about it when I read more, because I did see some other stuff in there that was looking like it would be insightful. It talks about mold, toxicity, Lyme disease, chemical sensitivities, and environmental stuff. Today's been a tough day, and I think one of the things that I read in this book is talking about carbs and simple sugars. And so I have been, because in an attempt to try to add things back into my diet, I've added some things like oatmeal and rice, and I think it might be too much because my body is crazy. I did fine for about 3 or 4 days. Like I still feel, the last couple of days I could feel like more congestion starting. And that had been kind of under control. She's getting water. It sounds like something else. So, so it sounds sus. So anyway, I'm thinking about considering limiting my oatmeal and rice. It's so easy and it's so tasty. So anyway, that would not be feeding the mold that I know that's in me. So let me think. Another thing that I talked about is how your symptoms change. Like you could eat one thing and be fine, and then all of a sudden it's like a trigger. So you never know which way you're going to be attacked. We went to a bank earlier, and as soon as I walked inside, I was like, ooh, something's fishy. Something in the air. I don't even know what, because it didn't smell moldy, but it didn't, like, I went downhill fast sitting there. I was like, oh no. Like I had extreme pain. So I'm sitting, like literally leaning, like, oh my gosh, I'm hurting. Like my pelvic muscle, bone, something was hurting.
Your thing.
Not my thing.
Something.
Pelvic.
Yeah, the pelvis.
Pelvis bone,
The
something
pelvis, way to
was
pelvis.
hurting. No. So anyway, it's like a constant, I don't even know, constant figuring out and monitoring what's going on. But this book does suggest, so when I am doing with with the H1 blocker, the H2 blocker, and the mast cell stabilizer, and the Singulair, which is some other kind of blocker that starts with an L that I can't remember right now, is I'm treating mast cell activation syndrome, but I don't have an official diagnosis, and getting diagnosed is very difficult. So I think there is a grieving process. That's what I mentioned the other day. Y'all are incredibly loud. That's what I mentioned the other day. I think there's definitely a grieving process. So if you're going through some crazy stuff, give yourself permission to grieve. So today, I noticed yesterday, usually I can kind of feel it a little bit that I'm like not all the way mentally there, I guess is one way to say it. I don't even know how to describe it. Like I'm fine and then I'm not okay. So I noticed last night Jerry was talking to me and I don't even know what he was telling me about something, and it's like I could not follow along. I was all confused, and then I was trying to respond to him, and it was just like I was having trouble putting the words in the proper order in my brain and actually figuring out which words I wanted to say. So I'd say like the thingy, or not a word not the right word, I guess I should say. And then today was just like crash and burn. So I figure the grieving process will probably be interesting. I'm used to grieving people, and grieving, I discovered I'm learning to grieve like no dancing or not going to dance with people. I miss that. But this is like, that's what I was telling Jerry. I was like crying my eyeballs out. It's just like uncontrolled emotions. If I get worked up, it's like symptoms pop up and I'm like itching or having craziness. So I just have to constantly be watching, I guess. And then it changes. So it's difficult to figure out. And then you have doctors that are like, oh, nothing showed up on your test, so that's discouraging. And I'm like, well, I know I'm not crazy. So there's all this like, what are the 5 steps of grief? Denial. I can read all these books and have like hundreds of the symptoms, and I'm still like, but what if it isn't? Because that test was normal, and that test was normal, and that was elevated, and now it's normal. So it's like I still have like denial. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. And then I think back to like my history and reading my history, and I'm like, how did I survive? So it's like you can look back and see all the stuff that you have survived and realize what a warrior you really are, and that's encouraging. So wait, what are the 5 steps of grief? Denial, anger. I was pretty angry at my doctor today. Like, how do you just drop somebody from your care? Which I didn't really care to be seen by him anyway because he wasn't listening. But it's like, how do you just have patients that have all these wide array of symptoms that affect multi-systems in the body and just dismiss them from your practice? I think, given my personality, I would be up all stinking night long researching, like I already do anyway. But everybody's different. I'm not bitter. And then there's bargaining. Hello, Bella. I haven't figured out how I bargain with this yet. Maybe I haven't bargained anything yet. Maybe I haven't, I don't know it. And then there's what? Depression. That's one of them. And there's acceptance. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 5, I think. So it's interesting. Some days I accept, like, okay, this is the way it is. And other days I'm like, maybe I'm crazy. So anyway, I basically just, I don't know. I wanted to share the book. Again, I'll share the book. I'm distracted because the kid's crying over something. Oh, your body. I don't know what benefit this will be, but maybe it'll be a benefit to somebody else. And it does like have a lot of really, really good information, and it does say to stabilize your mast cells before you start treating the mold, because I keep saying I have mold and I know that I need to get rid of that, but I don't know how to go about doing that. And it says you need a professional to help you because I don't detox properly. There's like it's a big old circle, never-ending circle of crazy. So I'll try to remain positive, and if I'm not, then so be it. I'll just cry and then move on. Suck it up and drive on and just deal with it. What's that dude say on that video? He's like, got nothing else to do but just to deal with it, so you just deal with it. And pet a puppy. Look. Oh, she left. Bella, come here. I didn't say anything about a car ride. Come on. So, there you have it. Today was a tough day. Yesterday was a tough day. I think the day before that was a tough day, but I can't really remember. I think that's when it really started, like, subtly going down. Come on, Bella. And also this book, because I called my doctor today and left a voicemail because here's another thing. It's like I keep getting the runaround. So the next level of care was to go to Stanford and to see an allergy doctor / immunologist, because they would be able to diagnose me, was the thought. Joshua, don't come in here distracting me with that crazy. So I get the referral, and it's to the same doctor's office that I already went to, and they're like, we have dismissed you from the office, so you can't see this new doctor here. So I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So I call my doctor again, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So it was supposed to be Stanford. I don't know why they're sending me to this one anyway, unless she's like affiliated with Stanford, blah, blah, blah. So they gave me a new referral to the doctor's office, whatever, at Stanford. And then I'm calling because you have to stay on top of it, otherwise you get lost in the system. So anyway, they finally called me and said that their doctor does not diagnose patients. They don't treat Mast Cell Activation Syndrome, and according to my chart, the carcinoid syndrome thought that was going around, that's the number's normal now. They don't treat that either. So she had to go and talk to some higher up people to reevaluate my case and see if I could even be treated there. So I'm like, well, what the heck do I do? I don't know. That's why I figure I'm like, I'll read up all this information and figure out what in the world to do. And my primary care doctor has started treating me as if I have Mast Cell Activation Syndrome, and the medicine seems to be helping, but I think it's normal people dosages, and I wish you would move out of here and stop doing that noise right now. Thank you.
I was making a potato.
You're making a lot of noise. So I think we're on the right track, and she's listening, but I think I'm still having normal people dosages, and I think they are benefiting a little bit, but they wear off really soon, and then the symptoms start right back up as if nothing's happened. Like, seriously, the pills wear off about 3 hours later, and I'm having drainage, and brain fog, and all that nonsense. So I called again today and left a message about Stanford, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. So we'll see what she says. And this little book says I can take quercetin 4 times a day, up 4, I don't remember, but it's more than what I'm taking. So I'm like, well, heck yeah, that's what I probably need to do, because I'm thinking I need to up something. And it says Mast Cell Stabilizer, 4 500 milligram doses taken 30 minutes before each meal and at bedtime. And if this dosage is well tolerated and helpful, it can be doubled. So, case in point, earlier, I was reading the book, not understanding what I was reading, and it's written in simple English, but my brain was like garbage. So I'm reading it slowly, messing up all kinds of words, and then I'm amazed that I could talk to myself this much, this long. So anyway, Jerry came in and I was like a mess, sitting at this counter, like on the verge of tears, because I want to go do things that are necessary. I would like to go walk around the neighborhood, but I'm like, I don't have energy to do that. And then I feel bad. I would like to dance. I don't have energy. And I keep getting dizzy because my ears are acting up. But anyway, I can tell, I took 3 quercetin pills instead of just 1. And I could tell about 30 minutes later, I had been reading in this book, and it was like I was mispronouncing words and saying the wrong words and just slow. And normally I'm like, read, fast. I could tell when the quercetin kicked in because my brain fog was like blown away a little bit, and I was like picking up my reading and saying the right words and reading quickly. So Jerry's like, I think the quercetin kicked in, or I said it, I don't remember, but I said it, yeah. I was like, I can tell that I'm feeling a little better, because otherwise I just felt like sitting on the couch or laying on the couch and crying. But not right now, not entirely.
So,
I'm gonna get through it.
yes.
And I'm gonna keep reading, and I'm gonna keep learning, and I'm gonna keep advocating for myself, and I'm gonna keep sharing, because it's just what I do.
It's fun. Other people
And maybe
out
it'll
there
help
have
somebody
the same
else.
Reactions.
Yeah. And it's not as rare as it once was thought to be. So maybe I'm not so different than other people. Yep. Okay. That's all. Have a great night.